This is a real email. It's the rejection letter from my audiobook distribution, and it's blunt. We are unable to distribute your book, Elon Musk is Dead, because it was created using ChatGPT. Welcome to Optional Human, Episode 2. I wrote the novel working with ChatGPT, then published it on Amazon about 10 months ago. It's done quite well, with 50-plus reviews, averaging over 4 stars. It's been described by readers as visionary and thought-provoking, but with people doing less reading and more listening, I decided to put together an audiobook version. I used AI tools in painstaking fashion to get the various voices as perfect as I could make them. Then, I used a freelancer to ensure the audio files were in the specified formatting. The result was something I was really proud of. I submitted the audiobook to a clearinghouse that distributes audiobooks to different retail partners. I expected a technical review, audio standards, formatting, metadata. Instead, I got that line. This isn't just one company saying no. This is a preview of what happens when the rules change faster than people can make sense of them. Because once a system punishes disclosure, it quietly encourages everyone to disclose less. And when that happens, trust doesn't get stronger. It gets thinner. So today, I want to make 3 quick points. 1. The disclosure penalty. 2. Policy drift, where rules get written fast and nuance gets crushed. 3. The identity squeeze, where creators start performing acceptable instead of being honest about process. And that's why this email matters. All right, point 1. The disclosure penalty. When a company tells you, we can't distribute this because you used ChatGPT, the obvious question is whether they're right or wrong. But the more important question is what that rule teaches people to do next time, because it teaches this: say less. It teaches creators to keep their process vague. It teaches them to remove words like AI and ChatGPT from descriptions. It teaches them to let the audience assume whatever the audience wants to assume, as long as the distribution pipeline stays open. That's not a theory. That's incentive. And incentives work. Here's the problem with that incentive. When disclosure becomes a penalty, honesty becomes a risk. And when honesty becomes a risk, the market doesn't get cleaner. The market gets quieter about how things are made. You end up with more guessing, more suspicion, more accusations, and fewer straightforward conversations. And it gets even stranger because AI is not one thing. It's a category label that people use to mean 20 different things. Some people mean, I used a tool to outline. Some people mean, I used a tool to edit. Some people mean, I used a tool to generate everything, and I barely touched it. Those are not the same. They don't have the same intent. They don't have the same craftsmanship. They don't have the same accountability. I wrote the novel in 1 month using AI, but it took me 5 months of editing to ensure it was ready to publish. But a blanket rejection trains everyone to treat them as identical. And if the system treats them as identical, then everyone's process gets dragged toward the safest possible description, which means less clarity for readers and less honesty from creators. Point 2. Policy drift. Policy drift is when rules get written quickly to handle a new problem, and then those rules keep spreading into places they were never designed to cover. This email uses the phrase, "Our retail partners do not accept books written with AI tools." That's not a statement about my audiobook specifically. That's a statement about their pipeline. It's a risk filter. It's a liability filter. It's a way to avoid a messy category. And I understand why companies do that. It's easier to draw a thick line than to judge nuance. Nuance is expensive. Nuance takes time. Nuance creates disagreements. But here's the cost. When a rule is too thick, it doesn't just block the bad cases. It blocks the honest cases. It blocks the weird cases. It blocks the work that doesn't fit cleanly into a checkbox. And then the industry becomes less about quality and more about compliance with whatever the current checkbox is. That is policy drift. The rule is no longer about protecting listeners. It becomes about protecting the distributor from conflict, or from headlines, or from partners who don't want to deal with the question yet. And when the policy drifts far enough, it stops being about what the audience hears. It becomes about what the process label looks like on a form. Point 3, the identity squeeze. This is the optional human part. When rules get confusing, people stop asking, "What did I make?" and start asking, "How do I describe myself so I can exist inside the system?" That's an identity squeeze. Creators start making decisions based on what will pass, not what is true. They start shaping their public identity around what's acceptable. They start performing purity, or they start performing automation, because those are the two easy costumes. Purity is, no tools touch this. Automation is, it's all tools, all the way down. Most real work lives in the middle. Human work lives in the middle, messy, iterative, full of choices and revisions and judgment calls. Tools are involved, but the creator is still accountable. And when the system can't handle the middle, it pressures people to pick a costume. That's the squeeze. It's not just about distribution. It's about what kind of creative identity is rewarded and what kind is punished. So here's the question I want to end on, and I want you to actually answer it because it's not theoretical. Where is your line? At what point does a tool stop being a tool and start becoming outsourcing? And who should decide that line? The creator, the audience, or the companies in the middle that control distribution? Because right now, the answer is quietly becoming the companies in the middle, and that changes everything. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe and like if you want more content like this.